We move on to regular action agenda. First up, we have superintendent evaluation. I'm going to go ahead and read the evaluation this evening, and then we will take a motion and second to approve as read, and then we'll open up for comments from the board, and then we will take a roll call vote. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into this. Per Michigan Revised School Code Section 1249 and 1249B, if a superintendent receives a rating of highly effective on 3 consecutive annual evaluations, the Board of Education may choose to conduct the superintendent's statutory evaluation biannually instead of annually, allowing the Board of Education to forego an evaluation under the code sections 1249 and 1249B in the 4th year. Dr. Vanderjack received highly effective ratings in 2018-2019, 2019-2020, and 2020-2021. The Hudsonville Public Schools Board of Education has determined to forego a rated statutory evaluation in contract year 2021-22 as permitted by code sections 1249 and 1249B. However, in the spirit of collaboration, communication, and continuous improvement, the Board of Education used the MASB Superintendent Evaluation Tool to complete a non-rated 2021-2022 assessment of the Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Doug Vanderjack's performance. The evaluation structure overview, the evaluation is divided into 3 sections, with the weighting factors as noted. Professional practice is 50% of the overall score, student growth is 40% of the overall score, progress toward district-wide goals is 10% of the overall score. The ratings by section, the professional practice category is further divided into 5 sections listed below. Scoring in these 5 sections for the 2021 year is as follows. Note that the maximum score for each section is 4.0. First section, governance and board relations, was a 3.0, community relations was a 3.3, staff relations a 3.9, business and finance a 4.0, and finally instructional leadership a 4.0. The average score of the professional practice category is 3.7. The student growth and progress toward district-wide goals categories were scored as follows out of a score of 4.0 in each category. Student growth 4.0, progress toward district-wide goals 4.0. Accomplishments and areas of improvement. The board wishes to recognize the areas of significant contribution made by Dr. Vanderjack, highly proficient management of the ongoing issues related to COVID-19. Examples include number of in-person school days over the past 1.5 school years relative to other districts, and creation and implementation of technology one-to-one plan. Second, thorough and timely communication with parents and staff on state and county COVID-19 requirements and district COVID-related actions, as well as ongoing building projects. Third, highly visible within the district and community, extensive time spent in buildings, frequent attendance at extracurricular events, and effective representation at various community and ISD meetings. Number 4, strong collaboration with neighboring districts, OAISD, local universities, and state government colleagues, and effective advocacy to support an effective environment of education. Number 5, availability and willingness to engage with parents and community members through email, phone, and in-person visits related to student and district topics. Number 6, development of positive staff relationships, promotes leadership skills and opportunities within staff. Number 7, fostering of a collaborative relationship with the HEA, which led to a 3-year contract with teachers and separately with transportation department staff. Number 8, effective recruitment of new talent. HPS has maintained its reputation as a destination district. Number 9, he has added supporting resources to our buildings and classrooms, such as PBIS personnel. Number 10, with the assistant of the superintendent of finance, managed through a challenging financial period for state and local governments to ensure the best possible impact to the district. The district financial position is strong, and the recent audit had the highest possible outcome, and the bond projects are off to an excellent start. Number 11, convinced 2 major townships to conduct a special millage election in person in May of 2021. Number 12, led the planning with GMB and OAK and numerous HPS staff for the new 5-6 building and HPS and HS high school additions. This preparation led to a savings when projects were submitted for bid. And number 13, implemented a multi-year financial forecast in March of 2021. Since at least 2014, the board credit reports contained a note that a multi-year forecast was needed for the district, and we finally got that done. In the spirit of continued growth and development, the board has discussed opportunities for Dr. Vanderjack and with Dr. Vanderjack to be even more effective during the 2022 calendar year and beyond. Those opportunities: number one, ensure all board members have common information on important district topics in a timely manner. In addition, increase transparency with parents and district community members in the area of curriculum and policy. The board will support this through a change to committee of the whole work sessions versus separate, smaller committees. Number two, given the activity around COVID-19, i.e. education plans, masking requirements, one-to-one technology implementation, staffing pressures, and bond projects, the finite resources of the district are stretched too broadly to support this work. Prior to initiating significant programs, the district should further evaluate resources to determine the most appropriate timing of implementation of new programs. Number three, ensure the board has full understanding of new programs, including when a board vote is not needed for implementation. Provide notification prior to program start, and then provide periodic reviews and updates on key findings and outcomes. Number four, the board identified opportunity for enhanced communication and transparency surrounding the former contract with Culture Creative. Leverage those learnings for future contracts to ensure board awareness of the scope of the contracts and substance of material, especially for any consultants related to educational content. And number five, the board understands that in a district as large and robust as Hudsonville, that there will be friction with certain decisions, and would ask that questions and challenges made to the superintendent and administrative team are met with curiosity and responses designed to teach, promote understanding, and move the district in a unified direction. The board and staff share a common goal of educating our children, and the superintendent must work to bring all parties together to achieve that goal. Last section, forward actions. To support continued success, the board will conduct evaluation updates in the following time frame per MASB recommendations. At 3 months, there'll be an informal quarterly status update, and then at 6 months, there'll be a formal mid-year review, including district team input, using the method agreed upon by the board and superintendent. And again, those are in alignment with MASB recommendations. Finally, the Board of Education has confidence in Dr. Vanderjack's ability and is grateful for his leadership and is eager to partner with him on opportunities to be even more effective in his continued leadership of the district. Signed, Hudsonville Public Schools Board of Education. So with that, may I please have a motion and second to approve the evaluation as presented by myself?
So moved.
Motion by Steve Bowerman. Support from Dawn Sneden. I'll open it up to comments or questions from the board at this time. Yes, I'm sorry, yes. Oh, okay. Sorry, Dr. Bowerman.
Thank you. Unless I receive greater clarity from my fellow board members, I'm not able to support this motion. And in fairness to the board, to the administration, to the staff, to the students, and to the citizens of our district, I need to explain my inability to vote yes on this resolution. I'm fundamentally disturbed with the process our board has used in developing this performance appraisal. As you might know, this task has been the focus of multiple and lengthy discussions by the board. I believe the process has been ongoing for some 4 months, which is the record for my several decades on this board. On January the 11th, the board members received a summary of our first discussion about the evaluation. This was done after a consultation with Jay Bennett from the Michigan Association of School Boards, who commented on the summary saying that it looks good and comprehensive. After another 3-hour session was held on January 18th. A summary of that meeting was received on January 26th. Identical information came to the board again in a January 29th email. If I missed any communication on this matter between January 29th and March 4th, you'll need to remind me, but my next record is on March the 4th. This email is significant because it fails to include concerns that arose at the August 17th board meeting and those identified in the January 11th summary. Apart from the January 11th summary, that information would not be disclosed to the public. Here then are my concerns. There are 3 of them. Number 1, the assessment standards for the superintendent evaluation had become a moving target. The standards should have been established at the outset and remained firm throughout the process. Changing the standards during and after the evaluation process, even to the point of suggesting that there be no assessment, delegitimizes the process and the outcomes. This establishes a dangerous precedent. Such behavior would never be tolerated in the school classroom or in any workplace environment I'm aware of. Number two, every step of the process should have been discussed and confirmed in a face-to-face meeting of the board. Telephone surveys between individual board members are not legitimate when making board decisions. Every board member needs the input and insight of every other board member. Iron sharpens iron. When a telephone poll is used, the summary of opinions from previous conversations can taint the outcome of a later conversation. It's possible to build a misleading consensus when there is no open exchange of ideas. The current situation is a case in point. In a March 3rd phone conversation, I was told that while I might not agree with the two suggestions, that they were supported by a majority of other board members. So it was clear that at that point, nothing I said would make any difference in the outcome. The changes made were secured and the decision was firm before I was given the opportunity for input. My position as a trustee was effectively disregarded. No board can function honestly and safely when support is built through telephone calls to individual board members. They must meet as a body. Number three, the board concerns which were listed in the January 11th version and omitted in the March 4th version are public matters. They arose in a public meeting and should not be sequestered to a closed session of the board, or even worse, disregarded without any open discussion. The public has a right to know the outcome of issues that are raised at open meetings. Further, the board has the responsibility of knowing why these concerns were omitted. So for these reasons I have indicated, I cannot support a resolution which is based on a process that is lacking in both transparency and integrity.
Other questions or comments from the board? I will add a clarification. There were no telephone polls that were taken to reach a decision on this evaluation. It was purely to seek input only. So I will end that clarification, and there was no disregarding of any board members' input into this process. So with all due respect, Mr. Davis, I would correct those two from my perspective items, but that's, your comments are duly noted.
I was quoting you.
And you quoted me correctly, and I did not say that I was disregarding your input.
You did not.
So I believe you took my quote incorrectly.
You said that you said you knew what my position would be, but that the decision had been made.
I did not say that. That is incorrect. That is an incorrect statement, Mr. Davis. Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, with that, we will take a roll call vote to accept the motion that's on the table. Chad, answer me.
Yes.
Dawn.
Yes.
Ken Hall is yes. Barb? No. Martin?
No.
Steve?
Yes.
And Larry? Larry's yes. Okay. The motion passes 5-2. Thank you, everyone, for your input on that. We'll do a roundtable with the board and then adjourn. Chad, comments?
Just thank you to the staff. I'm grateful that we've got the opportunity to recognize all of the collective staff of the district, and hope that message goes out with gratitude. Been reflecting, I know on a lot of votes, we're a 7-0 board, and we go unanimous on a lot of decisions. That wasn't the case on all of them tonight. Mark, I do appreciate you being candid with your comments. I struggle a bit as I reflect with any characterization, though, that there was anything other than thorough debate, thorough discussion, and that there was anything inappropriate about the way that we went about conducting the evaluation. Quite the contrary, as you said, we spent many, many hours in debate and discussion. I think we thoroughly took the opportunity to understand everybody's viewpoint, and at the end of it realized we were not a consensus decision as evidenced by our vote tonight. But I appreciate that you shared your viewpoints. Respectfully, I disagree with any characterization that there was anything inappropriate or anything other than us following the process comprehensively, lawfully in the way that we approached it.
Thank you, Chad. I would just echo what you had to say. And again, thank you to all the fellow board members who had very honest and robust conversations for the last few months. We spent hours, and even though we didn't all agree, I thank you all for really putting a lot of effort into this because we do care. And thank you, Doug, for your flexibility and your patience.
I just want to thank all the teachers. I know how hard it has been for the last 2 years. I know how challenging it can be to have to change how you teach. And once you change it and students come back and you're still dealing with COVID, and you still have to make sure that they meet all of the, or in my case, course objectives. So I understand how hard it is, and I do want to say thank you because I know how hard you have all worked. I want to thank all my fellow board members. We did spend a lot of time talking about the evaluation. I do support what Mark said. We did an evaluation and then we went back and changed things because we didn't like the outcome. So I want to support Mark. I am sure it was not easy for him to verbalize his thoughts, but I want him to know that I do support what he said.
Mackenzie, thanks for the invitation to come down to your school and read to the children. You know, I spent virtually my whole life in public speaking, and all of a sudden I'm asked to speak to some first graders, and I'm scared out of my mind. But my wife was helpful. She helped me select some books, and we actually had two lovely books, but one of them was based on a Tolstoy short story, which I really enjoyed particularly. But charming time. Thanks for the invitation. It was very exciting for me.
Val and Kathy, congratulations on your new positions. Very well deserved. It's always nice to see people who invested so much already in the district be recognized and promoted into new positions. And I would echo Chad's comments as well. I'm totally aligned with the statements that he's made. And the other person I'd like to thank is Ken. Thank you for how you conducted yourself, the difficult process that you led us through. Thank you.
I'm good.
All right. With that, can I have a motion to adjourn, please? Motion by Chad.
Support.
Support from Steve. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.